In Texas, a black man gets 70 years for spitting on cops. Is this justice? Tell you more. Texas man Larry Pearson is his name, reportedly sentenced to 70 years in prison for spitting at Lubbock police officers during an arrest last May. There's Mr. Pearson. Cops picked him up on domestic violence charges after he allegedly hit a woman several times in the face, leaving her with, quote, multiple visible injuries. That's according to everythinglubbock.com. Pearson allegedly got angry when officers didn't arrest the victim and started kicking the door of the police cruiser. When two cops opened the door to demand he stop, Pearson spat at them and kept doing so even after he got to the Lubbock County Detention Center. Again, according to the website. And during the trial's closing arguments, prosecutor Jessica Gorman asked the jury to, quote, send a message to both the suspect and society with its sentencing. Pearson had prior convictions for aggravated robbery and family violence. Gorman referenced that. As a result, he faced a minimum sentence of 25 years. This is what the prosecutor's arguing. Jurors indeed later found him guilty of 2 counts of harassment of a public servant. Okay, so let's put this in perspective. Remember what I said, 2 counts of harassment of a public servant. Jim Shaw, Pearson's defense attorney, told jurors that the sentencing was for a simple misdemeanor that got out of control. Various outlets have picked up on the story. Fox News, TMZ, Chicago Defender. Let's show you the headlines. It depends on who you're aligned with, what your headline looks like. Okay, and there you see it. Man gets 70 years for spitting at cops. But Fox says Texas man who spit at police sees life of crime crumble, slapped with 70 years in prison to send a message. Now, who wrote that Fox headline? You know that's not a good headline. It's so convoluted. There's too much in there. It's a compound. That's not how headlines are. That's not how they work best. But this case has garnered much attention. Rapper Meek Mill is weighing in on it, commenting on the story publicly. There's Meek's tweet. No, this action level. Ain't no way they can give us that much time for a misdemeanor like spitting. I don't care. What they gonna try to say his record is? No regard for Black life in that courtroom. I guess, like I said, Bennie, spitting is gross, okay? It's disgusting. I've only had it happen one time. I was babysitting some kids. We were at the playground, group of older kids who just like were up to no good. Well, they spat on my new Jordache jeans. Am I dating myself? They made a comeback, didn't they? And I was furious. And I took care of it. And I'm going to leave it at that because I don't know what the statute of limitations is. But 70 years for a misdemeanor and a prosecutor who is in the courtroom arguing, begging the jury to do more. I'm not saying this person's a great person, Pearson is a great person, but how do you balance Lady Justice here? Why is it so personal to this prosecutor? And why, when police are spat on, does it require 70 years? But when you maybe look a different way, you're a victim of something horrific, sometimes nothing happens and there's not even an indictment.
Yeah, I mean, this case really condenses a lot of different things into one, because the original arrest was for domestic assault, right? That's what the original arrest was for. And then, of course, there's the layer of this is a Black man spitting on a police officer. Okay, so we have several different layers here. First and foremost, they wanted to prove a point. They really wanted to get this guy for what? For spitting on police officers. They didn't really want to get this guy for like allegedly committing domestic assault. That was like, and apparently had like previous charges for domestic assault. So what is being valued here by the system more? Whose lives are worth what, right? Because we have 3 different instances here where you have like the police officer's just dignity when it comes to them being spat on. You have a Black man whose life is being, literally stripped away by being put into jail for 70 years. And then, of course, you have whoever the victim potentially was of the the alleged domestic violence, right? And so this one instance really, I think, encapsulates all that rather than focus on all of these actual victims and the real problems that exist within our society, spitting on a police officer apparently is the #1 crime in America that really needs to be dealt with, I guess.
Well, prosecutors and police, they have drinks together and they hang out and they work so closely together. So yeah, that trumped everything apparently. Okay. Trumped everything. Wow. We'll keep following Mr. Pearson's plight, the sentence, and we'll see what ultimately comes of it.